Hello everyone. How are you guys all doing today? I will just get these things ready here while I wait for a couple of you to join in. I apologize, our Wi-Fi was having troubles still. We thankfully had MTS in and out already today, so they managed to get this fixed up. Hopefully it'll work so that we can stay live with the full project to demonstrate for you guys. Hi Ramona, how are you? It's been an interesting time since we were last live yesterday with no internet, no TV, comes back on and goes again, so hopefully it will stick it out and last the whole time. We had the guy here and then I'm just going to move this a little bit. He left, but we didn't know he was leaving and nothing was working. So he did come back. There's a station near our house, so he must have just gone there to get supplies or something. But anyway, he's back and it's working, so that is good. I have designed, hi Linda, a card here for you guys today. I have chosen to go with the inked and tiled stamp set. I did not use the coordinating punches, but I'm going to show you guys the stamp set in case you happen to have it or something similar and you would like to give this a try. I'm sorry, I keep messing with this here. It's probably not straight on your screen, but I think it's straight on the grid. So we're going to give this a try without the extra lights today, and let me know if that is bright enough that you can see, but hopefully you don't have the glare of the extra lighting. So I am Alana Worf, Sleepless Stamper. I'm in Manitoba, Canada, and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I am doing a series of old and new, featuring some old, some new, meaning some retiring and some upcoming product for you guys throughout the next, until the 28th of April. I think I saw a comment there, but hi Melody, and I think I saw Michelle there. Hi Michelle. So some old, some new, and hopefully I will inspire you guys to use up some of the things that you have at home. If you are interested in placing an order, I have a new host code for you guys today. With a $65 order, you receive a free gift. With a $100 order, you will receive the free gift and my retirement party class. So again, I'm not retiring, but the product is, or some of it is. So I'll point out for you guys what's old, what's new on this one, and we will get started. If you would like to share this video, please do. And then just come back and comment that you have shared so that I can enter you in the share draw to receive a copy of the card I'm making. I will do draws tonight for the cards that I have done daily up until today. So if you want to share, or if you want a chance to win that, just share the video and then comment that you have. So I'll quickly show you the product that I'm using. Inked and Tiled is a stamp set in the Outgoing catalog. I believe that this one's on sale. I accidentally grabbed the wrong catalog. I'll be 1 second. I want to grab the one that has the discounts marked in it so I can tell you guys if it's on sale. Sorry about that. I get myself a copy of the catalog coil bound, and then that's not the one I mark the discounts on. I keep a fresh one and then I mark that one for you guys when I do the catalog walkthrough. So that is the one that I need handy. So Inked and Tiled is on page 95 of the annual catalog that is still in existence. So this one, the stamp set, is not on sale in English. It is still $37. The French version, however, is 30% off, down to $25.90. Though I am not using the punches that coordinate with it, I'll show them to you. They are 20% off, down to $44. And I'm sorry my voice is distant for a second while I grab these off the shelf. So these are the coordinating punches. You don't necessarily need these for this one, but they do make a fun pattern if you're going to use a tiled or a mosaic background. I was actually going to do a tiled background for you guys. My goodness, sorry about that. And then I decided I wanted to go with a different strategy. So what I have chosen for what is new is, I can't show you the page where it comes from because we can't open the catalog. Hi, Kim. And show you the inside pages, but we have a page inside the new catalog. I will tell you what page it's on in case you already have your catalog or for when you do receive your catalog. Now, please tell me I didn't move that one out of where I'm working. Okay, here we go. Oops, I just about brought it on camera, you guys. I can show you the cover, so I will do that for those of you who don't yet have yours. On page 22, there are some sketches, and I pulled in a variation of a sketch from the inside of the new catalog. We have some really neat features in the new catalog that give you sketches, color combos. So I pulled some of those strategies together from the new catalog. This is the new one. The cover is allowed to be shown. I just can't yet show you the inside pages. And then I also used the same gems that I used yesterday. So yesterday I used the Adhesive Back Pearl Trio. And then I'm also using Spotlight on Nature. So I'll show you guys that as well. I can show you product that I own. I just can't pull in the actual catalog. So now I thought I had these right here. And of course I have moved them. They're buried under my supplies. Here we go. These are really pretty. So these are the collection of dies that, here we put the wrong one on here. That one is from Everyday Details. I'm like, why? How come there's no empty spot for my die to go back? So this is Spotlight on Nature. These will be featured in the new catalog. So I decided to use a die from here, the gems from the new catalog, and then some outgoing product. One of my favorite outgoing products that I have used on this one here is TaylorMade tags. I love these dies and I will be really sad not to have these to use. This one is probably my most used one of all. So I've gone ahead and used that with the little greeting from Inked and Tiled. So I use this greeting here. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Yay, I'm so glad you're here at the beginning, Kim. I'll have to catch one of your lives. I'm assuming that you do them. I shouldn't just assume that. Hi, Leanne. Thank you guys so much for joining in. All right, so I'm going to show you guys all of my supplies here. Sorry for my reach in front of the camera. I have a Pretty Peacock card base. This is 4 1/4 by 11. I have a Lost Lagoon layer. This one is, I want to say 3 3/4, but it might be wrong. 3 3/4 by 5. Yeah, that's 3 3/4. I hadn't done any lives for a long time either, Kim. You do what you can do, right? No judgment here. That's for sure. I have cut a border from Gorgeously Made. I'm going to use this part here. These are also retiring. That was surprising to me. I thought they'd stick around for a while. This is my die cut. Excuse the ink on my fingers. I think I told you guys yesterday that they're often inky. Such as it is with stampers. So I've got the small tag from TaylorMade Tags. I have a layer of white that I'm going to stamp on first and then die cut. I'll add a layer inside the card today, or with this sample here. And then I also have this patterned piece from the paper that coordinates with the Inked and Tiled stamp set. It is called Inked Botanicals, and you have all these different patterns. They are so pretty that coordinate with this stamp set. So some of them are as though you have already stamped up the whole background. Look at that one. It's so pretty. It coordinates with this stamp here. So there's all these different patterns, and you guys know me. I love plaid. So I went with that one there, just to bring in a little bit of DSP. You can make just a little bit go a long way. So I'm gonna actually cut that for you guys. And then I have used the, let's see what this one is called in English, metallic ribbon, and it is the Pretty Peacock and Gold metallic ribbon. I love that. It is so pretty. I think this one carries over. I will look that up for you guys though. And then again, I've used these gems and some linen thread. I am going to actually use my markers for today's stamped image. So we're going to teach you guys, if you have never used your markers for stamping, I'm going to teach you guys a little bit about that. All right, so we will get started. I'm going to begin with this background here, and then I'll move on to the focal image. So I'm going to begin with the Lost Lagoon layer. I have it's like everything just jumped all out of order here. It's right in front of my face. I have the leaf image. I'm going to bring this back in so you guys can see it. That was rude of me to move that. I'm going to use this leaf image here. I will clean it off real quick so that I don't have that giant halo. So a halo, for anybody that's brand new to stamping or just isn't familiar with the term, a halo is where you get this outlined image. So I try to be cautious when I'm inking my stamp to just go straight down and straight up, because otherwise then if you stamp this and rock a little bit, or as we say, rock and roll, if you rock and roll your block at all, you may get that funky outline. Sometimes you want that, sometimes if it's a look you're going for, but it is not what I'm going for today. So I want to clean that off. And I am going to use my Lost Lagoon. Like I said, I keep hiding all of my supplies here. And I'm going to just quickly bring in a scrap sheet. I'm using my glass mat again today. And that means that I don't have a piece of paper under here. So I'm just going to ink that up. And I'm going to mimic the pattern I created on this one here. Hi, Laura. So I'm going to start here. I know that I like the pattern that I've got and where the overall placement of my leaves ended up. I rocked that just a little bit, so I'm going to check it first. No halo, so I'm good to go. Now I'm going to rotate this upside down, and I'm just filling in the placement. You can see where this leaf is here. I'm kind of tucking that in there. It's a good idea if you do go over the edge of your cardstock so that it doesn't look like, if you try to fit all of these fully on the cardstock, it's not going to look as organic. So try to go over the edges when you are stamping a background. And if you're short on DSP, don't be afraid to use your stamp sets to create your own. So I'm just filling all of this in. There we go. That one's a slightly different placement, but that's okay. This one will be slightly different too. And I'm trying to go straight down, straight up with my inking of my stamp. And then to fill in a couple of these little gaps here, I'm just going to tuck a little bit in there. There we go. So that is the full background. I'll bring that a little closer just so that it's not so far away. So that's how I did that one. Have any of you guys stamped your own backgrounds? Hopefully this will encourage you today to give that a try. So while you're watching, let me know where you're watching from. I would love to know where some of you are. I know Kim is really far away. One day, I'm going to get back to where you are, Kim. All right, so that's the background there. I will end up, you're not sure you'll ever be short on DSP. That's true. I think we probably all have that same problem. Or blessing. Let's go with blessing. I can't say that I'd call that a problem. All right, so now I have my white, and I'm going to I'll bring this closer so you can see, just get that little bow out of the way. I am going to stamp this floral background for you guys. So I'll bring that in. I'm going to move the Lost Lagoon layer out of the way for the moment. Keep this here. I don't need my ink pad for this because, oh, you know what? I do need my ink pad. I am going to backtrack. I completely forgot an extra step that I did. Just bear with me. Sorry about that. I added a little bit of extra detail on the background here. I'll bring this closer. You can kind of see there. I added some spatter. So I forgot that until I opened up this ink pad or went to close it. and saw that little pool there. So I'm actually going to bring this back. I'm going to move this one out of the way. I don't want that spatter to get over top of that. I have an aqua painter, and I'm going to just pick up some of this ink here, and then using the cap of my aqua painter, I am just going to spatter some little droplets over top of the Lost Lagoon. Sorry about that. Got ahead of myself. I should know better. I love adding spatter just for a little extra detail. So I'll bring that closer. So now you can see there's just a little bit of extra detail in there. So I would normally then just clean this up, and you can just run that clear and make sure that you get the ink out. You can use a paper towel or a rag, whatever it is that you like to use. If you don't like to waste paper towel, if you're environmentally conscious, a rag will do. Okay, so there we go. We can move this aside. I just want to make sure I don't have any spatter on there. And now I can bring my white layer back in. I have my stamp back here. That is this one here. And I'm going to use my Stampin' Write markers. So last year we did an overhaul of the markers, and they released a new, like an improved marker. So I do find that the brush tip, hi Lynn, how are you? That the brush tip of these new markers does work really well for this technique. I've used them on polymer, and they work much better, I find, than the older style Stampin' Write markers. So I'm going to use the brush tip, and when you're coloring with your markers on your stamps, you don't want to go straight down with the brush tip onto the rubber. You're going to damage the tip. So I like to use the side of the brush tip, and then just be careful. So I'm just going loosely into the bottom of the flower. I don't want like a straight, like a perfectly straight line. I'm just kind of going a little bit organically there. And then I'm coloring in my stems, and I'm trying to go like with the image, like with the, kind of like going with the grain. And then that's going to be a little more friendly for the tips of your markers as well. So that is Mossy Meadow that I used on there. And now I'm just going to rotate this around, and I'm using Pretty Peacock, and again the brush tip on its side. I want to be careful not to go over too much with the two, between the two colors. I don't want to put Mossy Meadow on the end of my Pretty Peacock, but I also don't want to have muddy colors. So I have now colored that in. I'm going to just wipe that. I don't want these little halo lines on my white paper when I'm done. So I'm actually going to move this out of the way. And you guys saw me spritz the Celebrate greeting. That card is not handy, but it is on my page. So the other day when I stamped the Happy Little Things and used the filler Celebrate, I did this same technique. I inked that stamp in 3 different colors. I did use my ink pads though for that one. And then I spritzed over it with water to blend the colors together and get a watercolor effect, sort of like what the background paper was. I'm going to do that again today just to make this a little bit softer. I wanted a little bit more of an organic feel to this, so I've actually spritzed this image before I stamp. So I just have a Stampin' spritzer, and I'm going to bring in one more piece of paper so I don't end up with spray all over. And I want to do this here so you guys can see this. All right, so I have my white paper nearby. I'm going to just spritz this just right. I don't want to aim it straight onto there, but there we go. So I have spritzed my stamp. I want to try to keep that flat. And then now I am going to just flip that over and go straight down and straight up. I probably spritzed that a little bit too much. So I may even, sorry, I'm dropping dies. I think I'm going to do this one more time. So I'm just going to grab another layer of white. Of course, my little stack of white is not nearby. So I'm going to just cut a new one. So bear with me for 1 second. While no, here's my stack. buried. So I'll grab one from there. Sorry to leave you guys hanging. Okay, so we're gonna go a little less heavy with the spritzing. And I'm not afraid if something doesn't go quite the way I want it. It just shows you guys we're all human. We can revamp or use it as it is. No big deal. You could totally use this one, but this one I'm happy with. I just don't like how much this one blended together. So rather than not liking it, I will just redo. It's just paper. Sorry about that. I will have to wipe that little halo off that I just made on my, right up here. I don't want that because that will create a little blob. So I'm gonna just finish coloring and then I can wipe off any halos at once. And again, a tickle in my throat. I am just using the side of my brush tip. Okay, now I'll be a little more cautious with my water. I won't go quite so heavy on that. Still guard everything here. And there we go. So just a little bit of water. I think I might have done twice that the first time. So I didn't want quite that much. There we go. So that's just a very slight watercolored look. Now, the dye that I threw on the floor that I accidentally knocked over is probably the Encircled in Nature dye that I need to use. Did you guys hear that one hit the floor? Actually wasn't that one, so hopefully it's not another one that I need. Now I'm gonna bring back in the card so that you guys can see that. Make sure I don't have any water on there. Now I want to cut this in about the same placement as that. So I'll go right about there. And I just have some Post-it tape that I am going to tape this. I'll actually tape it right here. It shouldn't leave any marks, but in the event it does, it'll be hidden by this. So I will just, I'll bring the Stamp Cut and Emboss over here. I often don't bring the big, huge one in view, but why not? So I'm just gonna line those up and everything hit the floor before I went live. So I'm struggling to find some of my things because we just picked them up and put them back on the desk and didn't find it all. So I'm just gonna give that. This has got the next pad on top. There we go. Now we can move this out of the way. Oopsie, like Butterfingers today. And then we can just carefully peel that out. There we go. What do you guys think of these new dies? I should have poked those little pieces out of the die first, but they came out fine, so that's all good. If you are a demo, oh, I don't know that actually I was gonna ask if you have Encircled in Nature, but is it called Encircled in Nature? Am I calling it the right thing? Encircled in Nature, sorry, Spotlight on Nature. Encircled in Nature is in the online exclusive. Exclusive. I can't speak today. My goodness. Okay, now I did do one more thing to this one. So I was telling you guys yesterday, I try not to use my blends so much with the spatter, but that was the look I wanted for this one. And the tip of this one is already damaged. So look at that one. It's kind of funky. So I wasn't worried about using my Pretty Peacock blends to add a little bit of spatter here. So I'm going to just go ahead with just a little bit of spatter there, and I'll bring that closer so you guys can see. I didn't want to try that with my Stampin' Write markers and wreck those when this one was already a bit damaged. So that is the reason I just went ahead with that today. Sorry, that came really close to your face. So I've done that there. Bring this back in for you and bring some of the other layers. Okay, so I have one more set of stamping to do. I've pre-die cut this. Often if I'm going to do a greeting, I'll stamp it first and then die cut it, but I'm gonna just go ahead with this. I lined up, you can see here, I don't typically like to put the stickers on my stamps. So what I did was I just placed my block along a line on the grid. I'll bring this a little higher up just in case you can't see that very well. So I made sure my block was in a straight line along the grid, and then one of those lines that I can see through the grid, I lined the thank part of thank you up too. So then I knew that my greeting was straight on the block. All right, so now I'm going to Embossing Buddy. I was telling you guys the last couple days, I emboss a lot. So you guys will hear me tell you this over and over again because you never know when somebody's watching for the first time. So be generous when you apply your Embossing Buddy powder to that piece of paper. That's going to give you the best result with not having a lot of static cling with where the powder goes. Yeah, I agree, Linda. These new circle dies are beautiful. I have used varying patterns. You get, sorry for sidetracking guys, but you get different patterns. So we get this one here that has these nice lines. Whoops, see those? Then we have this one here that's kind of like eyelet lace. I don't know what else you would call that. And then we have this one. So you get 3 different patterns of detail, which I think is awesome to get all of that in one set of dies. And then you get both sheets. So you get varying sizes in the different designs. I love that. Okay, so now I'm going to ink this up with Versamark. And I have white powder. So this one, again, you want to be really careful just to tap straight up and down. You don't want to rock and roll or you're going to get that halo around there. And then you're going to have that embossed outline. And that's probably not what you want. Again, if that's the look you're going for, that's totally fine. It's just not the look I'm going for with this. So now I want to make sure that my die is straight, or aligned straight to one of these lines here, so that when I also use my greeting that is straight on the block, everything should line up. Now the trick is doing this without sticking my head in your view. There we go. Okay, so I've got thank you. Hopefully that's in the right view for you guys. My feed is a little slow compared to what I see in front of me, so it takes a second for me to know if it's lined up for you guys. And the view on my end is actually still with the original view, so I'm actually really not seeing what you guys are seeing. The only way for me to see it is here. I'm gonna just go off and then back in, and hopefully, no, it's not playing nice. The comments are up to date, but my view is not. Strange. I don't think that's our Wi-Fi issue because everything is still live for you guys. And hopefully it will continue to work. Our phone line often goes out to our landline. I'm just not ready to let go of it. Do all of you guys still have a landline or only a cell phone? Tell me. Okay, so now that I have put the powder on there, I'm gonna heat set. I apologize for the heat gun, but no way around that. Oh yeah, Kim, I got this bundle because it was the after hours extra class. It was one of the options. So I had signed up for it. And that's how I got that bundle, because it wasn't on the pre-order. But I really love that citrus one that was in one of the additional class options. There we go. So we have that. And now if there's any of that powder residue, you can wipe that off now because we've got a nice crisp greeting. So separate from that, I'm going to use this little flower image. I'll show you this one up close. I've actually used quite a few of the images today. So I've already used this large leaf. I've used this one and the thank you. Now I'm going to use this little image here just to add a little bit of extra detail right in here. Oh no, yeah, I always have FOMO, right? And then I ended up not even going. So somebody, Danny actually on the team, she gathered my stuff and sent it to me. So that was awesome. Okay, so I'm going to use my markers again. This is not even cleaned off from the first time because I didn't use the watercolor. I actually tried one with the watercolor and it was way too saturated. It just looked like a blob on there, so I had to redo it. So there again is that, don't be afraid to redo it. If it's not what you love, it's just paper. Use a little more. And don't feel like you have to be perfect. But if you know you're just not going to be happy with it, there's no harm in redoing some of your stamping. Okay, so I have colored that in with the Stampin' Right markers, just like I did before. And then I'm going to fill this in a little bit with this image here. So again, I'm going to try to get in here without sticking my head in your view. There we go. So now we've got just a little bit of a two-toned image there. And I can get this paper out of the way. So that is the stamping, although I did tell you guys we would stamp on the inside, right? So I'm actually going to bring that stamp back, or scrap sheet back in. And let's see. What should we stamp on the inside? I think I will do this again on the inside. I just won't show as much. Are you guys good for that? A little extra stamping? Some impromptu additions to the inside of the card? May as well. And if you were creating an envelope to go with, which, you know what, I'm going to mail this to one of you. Whoever wins the share draw, wipe that little halo off, I may as well grab an envelope. And if you guys don't mind, and we'll stamp an envelope while we're at it. So you get to see me stamp this a few times. Now, do I spritz it or do I not? There's a song that reminds me of. I think it's Do You Love Me or Do You Not? You told me once, but I forgot. Is that what it is? I'm not going to sing it. You don't want to hear me do that. That would be probably not good. Okay, and I'm sorry, now the dog is barking. She's singing it, right? There we go. She's singing for us. We'll go with that. Okay, so now I'm just going to not go quite, well, you know what? It is just about as high. I'm going to go a little off the edge. There we go. So that's the inside of the card. And bear with me, I'm going to grab an envelope and we are going to stamp the edge of the envelope as well. So we're going to color this one more time. Oopsie. Hi, Kathy. How are you? Have you done much stamping since our event last weekend? I don't know if you saw, Kathy, I showed you all of our swap cards from the shoebox swap. So everybody saw your beautiful beach swap card. I love that. I finished it actually too. Sometimes once you leave an event, do you guys find you never go back and make the projects? I did. I finished my projects. So that was an accomplishment in itself. I'm not going to spritz this one, but I will do, so there's a little trick. I'm not going to stick my head under here to show you guys, but if you do what we call huff, so just breathe on the stamp to kind of re-moisten any ink that might have kind of dried. So you could probably hear me breathing on that. And we're going to stamp that in the corner of the envelope. So now we actually have a matching liner, envelope, and the card. So whoever wins this one will get the version with the liner and the matching envelope. Sound good? I hope whoever gets it loves it. And when I send out cards like this, I don't write right in the card. I will write on a sticky note, and then that way, if you wish to, you can reuse the card. You have to clean your craft room first. That's a familiar tale, especially here with being spread out in so many different locations. It is a little bit bonkers. Our son's friend, who is a carpenter, is coming over today. The feed is frozen on my end. I hope it's good on your end. He is coming over today to build a new little shelf or a cubby, I guess, for my current stamps. I am going to be posting, actually, oh my goodness, our older son, the one whose friend is coming over, he's been so busy with exams, he hasn't had a chance to really do much to help around the house with moving rooms and getting things ready for the trip. So he's down to 1 exam. He had 2 over the last 48 hours, or a final paper and an exam. So he had a little bit more time yesterday. So he marked all of my retiring stamps. I will post a picture and you guys can make a guess as to how many retired. While we're here, guess how many of the current stamps I have. So I'll post, I think what we'll do is post the number saying, here's how many current stamps I have. Guess how many retired. It is more than ever, and even I was shocked. After having marked up my whole catalog, I was still shocked by how many left. All right, so this is our finished card. I am going to bring in this patterned paper, and this, I need to cut these to go right here. I have this little strip of pattern and the little border. Okay, so Melody, you're guessing that I have 50 current stamp sets, right? Okay, so I am going to cut a 3/4 inch strip off of here now. Okay, I'm gonna just tuck this way. I'm going to the 3/4 inch line. I was going to try to get some of this long white part in there, but there's a little bit of the cross stripe, so those are okay. So 3/4 by 4 1/4. This might be a little long, but I can trim that down after because we don't have the actual true 4 1/4 mark on this cutter. I just don't want it to be too short. Oh my goodness, I can't get these things off of here today. So now I also need to trim this down to 4 1/4. So Nature's Prince, but the stamp set sold out. Oh no. I might be selling that one, Melody. And speaking of, I keep forgetting to tell all of you, or just remind you about our online retirement sale. So we do an online clear out sale with the retirement of every catalog. That will be starting on May 10th. So if you are local or across Canada, you are welcome to join as a vendor. People can shop from our group, and then we do this massive sort process where all of the vendors bring me all of the stuff that you claimed from our one page. We compile all of your stuff that you purchased from all of the vendors into one package for you. And then you can pick it up at my home, or if you're across Canada, we will ship it to you in one package. So people are getting ready for that. And just the catch is, because it is a massive undertaking for me and it has to make business sense for me, vendors use the amount that they sell towards an order. So if you're a team member, you get those funds to order under yourself. If you're a customer and you want to put stuff in the sale, you order under whoever on my team is your demonstrator. So Melody, I think I tipped that one down on the shelf because I'm planning to sell it. So I will let you know. All right, so Melody guessed 50 that I have current. Kim, is your guess that I have 25 current stamps or 25 that will be retiring? Let me know. Okay, so now we have this little piece that's going to go under there, and I have this piece here. So I am going to glue these together, and I have some really thin tape that I'm going to use just to make it easy on myself. So don't mind me using this really skinny tape. So you're guessing that I have 25 remaining of my stash. I like all your emojis. Yeah, Ethan was in about as much shock as I was. So I won't reveal the actual answer because I'll post it as a contest for you guys. But I love your guesses. I think I will reveal how many I have in total. So I have 89 current stamp sets from the annual catalog. That does not include the January to April. So we have this now. Now I can start assembling. And I told you guys yesterday that I don't like using Tombow to adhere my white because then I get that funky little line. So I am going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus again, Melody. So I'm going to show you guys this again. So sometimes you have to just give it a little pull to get the adhesive to where you want it, and then just go straight down and straight up, and then you'll get a nice release. So down and up. So just a little press at the end to make it stick well to the paper, and then lift straight up and it releases. So I hope that helps, Melody. Now I've got my fold at the top. You always want to make sure of that. It's a little easier when you are putting something on the inside. Oh my gosh, that one I didn't trim down. So that we need to do. I do not want this the full size. So I'm cutting this down at 4. Now I put the adhesive on there. So I was telling you guys the other day, dry fit first. I didn't dry fit first. I should have done that. There is enough adhesive that I'm not going to bother putting more, but this cutter doesn't go to 5 1/4. So off camera, I'm going to just cut this at 5 1/4 at the top. And then that way I keep my stamping intact. Okay, so I just cut a 1/4 inch off here and a 1/4 inch off here, and then my stamping remains the same. I still have enough adhesive left on either side. So now I can go ahead and stick this down inside. I'm excited to mail this to someone. Hi, Shell, how are you? Okay, Shell was also in my shoebox swap group at the Share What You Love event that we did with Genevieve last weekend. And her card was beautiful too. Hers, Shell, yours was the zinnia one, right? Okay, if you guys were me, where would you have put the piece of the Lost Lagoon paper? Oh my goodness, where have I put that piece of paper? Probably under the stamp set. Okay, guys. I stamped it and then I moved everything over. There's not that much stuff sitting around here. Wow. Bear with me. I'll find it. And then I went and picked up the dies to show you. Picked up multiple different cutters. This is silliness. My goodness. Nobody wants to watch me do that again. To my left, stuck to my elbow, right? Whenever we had in-person, oh, I threw it off the desk and it landed on the floor. Here it is. Which actually, Melody, was to the left. Which also gets me wanting to sing that song, To the Left, to the Left. Does anyone know that one? Here we go. So this is the layer that I stamped here, and then I spattered over top, for anybody who missed that. I'm going to distress 3 sides of this. I don't want to distress all sides. So I'm keeping one clean side because it's going to go against this clean edge here. So I've just distressed the top, the side, and the bottom. And this one is okay to use Tombow because I don't find that with colored cardstock that it leaves that little indent. So I don't mind using some Tombow here. Now I am going to just line that up to the side with equal as I can space on top and bottom without sticking my head in your view. And then I'm going to use this as my guide. And I used some Tombow here. And with Tombow, you don't want to use too much. Just a thin bead is lots. That stuff, if you have ever used it, is very sticky. So I'm just using this card here as my guide as to how high I want this to go. And then line that up and give it a burnish. So there we go. Now, if you're just tuning in, I used my Stampin' Write markers and I colored this and then spritzed on it with a little bit of water to stamp it, and then I spattered a little bit of blends because the tip of that blends is already a little bit damaged, so I was okay doing that. Now, excuse these, I have some evidence on my dimensional sheet. When I double-decker dimensionals, I always remind you guys, make sure you peel the backing in between the two layers sticking to each other. I did not do that when I was making this sample, so I had to peel them off because they wouldn't stick to each other with the backings in between. Okay, so I'm going to dimensional this. I'm overlapping it a little bit along the bottom here and a little bit here. I just like the placement of that where you don't see quite so many lines. You break them up just a little bit. So that is being dimensional there. Now I'm going to dimensional this in place. It's easier to tie this bow if you've anchored this down. It gives you a little bit of leverage. Now on this side here, it's double deckered where it overlaps the circle and single deckered here. That's where I made my error by not pulling the dimensional backing off in between. So I've put this dimensional on, I've peeled the backing, and now I'm going to stick the next dimensional on. Now I can put one dimensional here because this one just needs a single decker and I need the double decker there. So that's the reasoning for that, if you've never seen that done before. And then I'm gonna just tuck this right in here. I wanted to still see lots of the flower. I didn't want this to block that too much. And sorry, Ryan was just asking me a question. All right, so now with this Lost Lagoon metallic and gold, or sorry, not Lost Lagoon, Pretty Peacock. I was debating between the Lost Lagoon and the Pretty Peacock. So I went with the Pretty Peacock. I'm going to just tuck this in here and fold that. I'm right-handed, not that that matters for this necessarily, but just for getting this placed and lined up. Can pull this over here, and now I've got this here. I'm going to take my linen thread, which is right in front of my face, and sorry, you can hear Ruby barking probably. She's outside and I can hear her through the window. Ruby is our dog for anybody that doesn't know who Ruby is. Okay, so my linen thread is underneath here. It's underneath that ribbon. And now I am going to hold this in place with my finger. This is where I was saying I find it best to tack that down first because now it's going to help hold this, so then I'm not trying to hold the ribbon and hold this while tying the bow. So if I just tack that down first, now I can just hold this all in place. And bows take a little bit of practice. Like if you go to try this and it takes a little bit, I've been tying bows for a really long time. And some people say they just hate tying bows. I think we all have different strengths. I talked, actually, I did a presentation last weekend and I talked about avoiding the comparison trap by letting your individuality shine. And if part of that is you don't love to tie bows, you don't have to tie bows. So whatever works for you. Don't feel like you have to do something exactly like the next person. I am happy if you're inspired by what I make and you want to create it too. I love that. But I also am never offended if somebody switches it up to suit their own tastes or skills. And I'm just happy that you're creating. So you can use that philosophy even just with creating a card or casing a card. Adapt that philosophy to whatever you need to. Now, I was telling you guys also, my scissors really need to be sharpened. So bear with me. These do not cut like butter at the moment. Okay, so there is the ribbon. I love this ribbon. I think it is so pretty. And then you can just pull that apart a little bit if you don't want those so perfectly aligned. Okay. Now, all I have left is some gems. And with this one too, I find sometimes when the gems don't come in 2 different sizes or multiple sizes, I don't always do 3. I treated my bow and my ribbon like the 3rd. It's a good idea to use odd numbers of embellishments, though not always, but it's a good standard. And to use a triangular pattern. So I went with this. I played around with the 3rd one and I just wasn't loving it. So I just went back to 2. So there again, make it be what you want it to be. If you like a 3rd one, put a third one on there. I will not judge. Okay, now my paper piercer. I'm just losing everything today, you guys. This is, there we go. There's lots going on. Ruby's actually barking because our son's friend came ahead of schedule, so he's actually bringing his tools to the side of the house, right outside the window where I am. So he is getting ready to build me a stamp shelf, because the retired shelf that's downstairs is not going to fit all of the stamps I have to bring down from my retired collection. Thanks, Shell. I really think that as long as we're creating and enjoying it, do you. I think that's important, not to feel like we have to be just like the next person, right? Even I was telling everybody, even with the artisan team, right, Kim, we were all chosen for what we offer. We do not have to all stamp like each other, right? There we go. So that is my card for today. And here is the finished one with the envelope. I love that. I love a coordinating envelope and a stamped liner. So one of you will win this card. If you wish to share, please do. Come back and comment that you did. That's the only way I know to enter your name in the draw. We are actually going to do the draw today for all videos up to today, just to keep it a little easier for me to keep track of them before we go away. So if you want a chance to win that, share it, come back and comment that you did. If you are interested in placing an order to qualify for my retirement party, you can either contact me to add to my order, or you can use this host code here and shop on my website. $65 order gets you the free gift, and a $100 purchase gets you the free gift and the free class. I do have the information for In Color Club is posted on my page. If you have questions, please do message me and I will get back to you to help you out with that. If you're interested in participating in our online clear out sale, you can let me know if you have questions about that as well. And then I will have information about shares and all of that kind of stuff coming as well. Yeah, well, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to post the time for tomorrow. It will likely be in the evening instead of during the day tomorrow, but I will come live for you guys again tomorrow. If you have something that you'd like to see me use before the product is gone, please do comment and let me know. I have a list of things I want to try to use that aren't sold out, but just comment and let me know if there's something specific or a specific technique you want me to try for you guys. All right, well, I appreciate you guys all joining in. That was fun. Sorry it was a little scattered with me losing things throughout the card making, but I'm looking forward to coming back tomorrow. Thanks everyone. Have a good day.